All right. It's episode 1 of In the Groove with me, Ian Trussheim. It's not really about me, though. Episode 1, we have John Button. Are you kidding me? John Button? He's in this band. They're called The Who. I don't know if you've heard of them before. He's played with Sheryl, Shakira. Just an incredible musician, inspiring, generous guy. I can't believe John wanted to do this. I can believe it. You know why? Because I believe, and he believes, and you need to believe. Okay, I want to keep this short. My goal with this interview podcast series is I want to ask questions to some incredible musicians that I want to know the answers to, plain and simple. I don't really want to ask John, what's it like to be in The Who? Actually, I do want to ask him that, but you can see many other interviews with John where he's talking about that stuff. I'm kind of winging this, guys. So this is episode 1. I had my list of questions. I talked with John. I said, we're going to jump right into it. And I kind of threw a curveball right off the bat, and we had a good laugh about it. And I said, maybe I need to reorder these questions a little bit. I think you're going to find a lot of great insight and value in what John has to say. He's an amazing musician and just so nice. And while I didn't want to bore him with Who questions, we actually got into some Who stuff. We recorded this right before he left. They're on tour right now. So I've been dragging my feet trying to figure out how to get this stuff out. Get it on the podcast streamings, the YouTubes, the internets. I don't really know what I'm doing, guys, but my heart is true, okay? So, episode 1, we have an incredible musician. Video production, not the greatest. I'm working on it, all right? Give me a break. Come on, guys. Give me a break, please. All right, that's enough of me talking. Check it out. John Button, some amazing... Ooh, hear that bird outside? Well, that's kind of amazing also. Music is everywhere, man. All right, let's see what John has to say. I'll see you on the other side. All right, John. What are 3 songs that made a lasting impact on you? I'm not saying they have to be your 3 favorite songs. It's just at times in your life, 3 songs that have made a lasting impact on you.
Oh, my God. That, right off the bat, that's such a hard question. 3 songs. Oh my God. Wow.
I was swinging for the fences right off the bat.
Oh God. Jeez. Ain't No Mountain High Enough comes to ground. Comes to ground. Comes to mind for some reason. What else just jumps into my head? Boy, that is such a tough one.
This is episode 1. I might have to reorder the questions for the next time. So we got Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's amazing. Oh, wow. There's going to be a lot of ums and ahs right off the bat. I was going to try and limit my ums and ahs, but you just nailed me.
Let me give you a prompt. You know, what was maybe when you were a teenager, what was a band that you were really digging, or like a record or a song that you just couldn't get enough of in your early playing?
Yeah, that helps. I mean, funny enough, as a early teenager, I was super into Marcus Miller. So, some of the David Sanborn stuff, that stuff's a little bit cheesy, but man, Marcus was amazing on that stuff. So, God, I can't think of the names of some of those.
Maybe like a Run for Cover, or in there, is there one?
It was, I think it was later than I didn't know Run for Cover until a little bit later. I think that was an earlier Sanborn record than what I got into. Good Lord, I'm just flailing right off the bat.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also, Jocko's first solo record. I got that when I was probably, 12 or 13. And so Ports as a Tracy and Come On, Come Over. Continuum.
Yeah.
You know, those songs off of Jocko's first record were big for me. Oh, what else? It's funny. Anybody who's like heard any other interviews with me where I've talked about some of my early influences musically, like they were so all over the map and so weird. It's hard for me to like, like nail them down. I mean, I was real into Level 42, so I remember when Something About You, which was the single that first got them a lot of traction in the US, that was like a big top 40 hit. And I remember because growing up, so I grew up in Alaska, and like we didn't have like a classic rock radio station or anything. So like there was basically like one decent radio station, and it was like top 40, like all just the top hits of the day, Madonna and whatever. And so this song from Level 42 comes on, and it's the lead singer playing crazy slap bass. I'm like, what is this? That was a moment for me.
No, it's good. It's good. And this is episode 1. I might have to not like swing for the fences right away. Guys, just, if you're watching this, John has no idea what I'm going to ask him. So we're
clearly.
I said, "You ready to go?" He said, "Yeah." And then it's like record 3 songs. I'm just curious, I think sometimes like because I teach a lot also, I have maybe certain songs in mind that are maybe a good like baseline for somebody to learn. And so was just curious what the gut reaction is. But it's cool to hear you talk about Jocko and Marcus, Level 42, and No Mountain. I mean, come on. That's like Jamerson. I love how he plays the written parts, and then in the choruses, it's probably just changes. And he's just kind of improvising in a groove through the changes. And what he did on that take. It's amazing.
It's crazy. Yeah, I remember I was probably like 16, I think, when I got that Jamerson book, what it was Standing in the Shadows of Motown or whatever. And
I'm looking for my copy, but it's out of
right.
Yeah, that's
that thing just blew my mind, because I grew up in the days before YouTube and stuff where you could know everything about everything that's going on, and so like I had no idea who he was, and I don't know how I found out about that book, but I got that. I was just like, what is this? And just super deep dove into the Motown stuff. That was a big deal for a couple of years for me.
You had the book, and you're just like putting the tape in or the CD and playing along with it.
Probably the tape. Yeah, it was the tape.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, I got another question for you, and this conceptual. This isn't as definitive. What is your approach to learning a song? Like you're hearing a song for the first time. It could be for a session, or you've just gotten a new gig, and you've never heard the song before. So what's going through your mind? How are you gonna like learn this thing?
Right. I feel like for me, those two things. So whether it's a session or a live thing are kind of different for me, because usually with a session, I'm going to chart it out. I'll write down the chart. And often I'll do that as a numbers chart. Just depends on how, like, I don't know, depends on, what does it depend on? Like sometimes if it's moving around to weird chords and stuff that don't feel like they're going to be easily, like, I don't want to be writing like flat 3 and flat 7, or it changes keys or whatever. But if it's a simple song, usually I'll do a quick numbers chart, and I'll often write it while I'm hearing it down. Like, so if I know, like, especially with numbers, you don't really need to know the key. So you can, as long as you know where 1 is, which sometimes is tricky. If the song starts on the 4 chord, you don't know that's the 1. But so I'll write out a numbers chart as it's going along, and then I can read the chart when we do a few takes, and then it just is gone. As soon as I'm done with the session, it's gone.
And then you're hoping you can find that chart if you have to play the song later, like a year later.
Yeah, right. Never going to happen. Somewhere. No. But for me, like if I'm going to be memorizing a song to play live on a tour or whatever, that's a different part of my brain, the memorization and know the song. So I want to never write it down at all. I don't make any charts, because once I write it in a chart, I can't get away from that. It's like I say, it's a different part of my brain. So if I'm learning a song for a tour, how do I go about that? Yeah, usually I'll listen through it, listen to it down and then kind of play along. And a couple things I try to be mindful of is like, if you're playing along with it, sometimes what you're playing can cover up what's actually on the recording. And you can learn stuff wrong and not realize it because you're not hearing it because you're playing along going, oh, I know the part. So I'll like learn it. And then sometimes I'll play along with it with my volume off. So I'm playing, but I can't really hear myself, but I hear what's actually on the track. And then I'll hear if there are parts that, oh, I didn't notice the bass player did that, right? And then I'm also being aware when I'm first learning it, things that sort of trip you up when you're first learning it. You're like, oh, whoa, I didn't realize the bridge went there. You sort of bookmark those because that'll be what'll trip you up usually later, And so another thing I do is say there is like a tricky transition to the bridge, which is often the case. I'll loop the 2 bars before the bridge and 2 bars into the bridge and do that over and over again, because what often happens is like when you're playing along with a song, you play the chorus 8 times and you play the bridge once. So guess what screws you up when you get on stage is the thing you played 1 time. So what's the fix is to actually play the bridge 8 times. And you know what I mean? And especially any transition like that. I love to just like loop the 4 bars, 2 bars before and 2 bars after that, and just play through that transition, and that'll like cement it. And then when you're doing the thing, you're like, I've got that.
That's awesome. And when you're saying loop, are you like time permitting dragging these songs into a DAW like Logic and then literally like you're literally looping
100%.
a section?
Yeah. I almost always, when I'm working on stuff for a tour or whatever, I almost always pull it into Logic or whatever. Because then you can, because I like, as evidenced by what I'm talking about, I'm really into looping stuff, and it just makes everything easier for me. And then nowadays, like in Logic, which is the DAW I use, it's got the stem splitter built in, which is crazy. So I can stem split out the bass, play along with just me, record it, see how it sounds. There's a lot of tools you can use in there that are super helpful.
That's amazing.
But then I also, sometimes I use, what is it called? I've got it on my computer. It's called iRehearse.
Okay.
It's an app that just like you can pull a song in and do looping and change the speed and slow stuff down and blah, blah, blah. It's similar to on the phone. I'll use, something slow downer. Do you know that one? Amazing slow downer.
Slow downer. Yeah.
That thing's pretty handy for if I need to do it on the phone, I'll put it into Amazing Slow Downer, and then you can loop stuff on there and slow it down and speed it up. Man, if you've got a lot of songs to learn and you just want to run through a ballad and make sure you know all the changes, put it on double time. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So that's my long-winded answer to that question.
No, that's great. That's really good. Fantastic. I'm going to move on to the next question because I want to keep it moving here. That's such great insight. And right now I'm like trying to restrain myself from going on a tangent. So fantastic. Next question. What makes a good bassist?
Ooh, interesting. That's a great question. A good bassist. I mean, aside from the general stuff that makes a good any musician, which is showing up on time and having your stuff together, your gear works and you're not a jerk. That's just pretty universal. But what makes a good bass player? Something I have become aware of as a bass player is if I know the song really well, I can pull the rest of the band along and kind of like put up little flags like, hey, we're going over here. everybody come along. The bridge is, boom, boom, boom. Here's the bridge, And so I almost feel like more than any other instrument, the bass can really pull the band along, or the opposite. If the bass player doesn't know the song and isn't solid on what's happening, the whole thing can just fall apart. So I feel like sort of being in command of knowing the arrangement and knowing the song really well and pulling the whole band along can make a bass player really valuable. And then just having, good tone and a good feel. I think those three things, like knowing the material really well and being really solid, having a good pocket, and having a good sound. Those three things make a good bass player.
I'm going to chime in. That's fantastic. I completely agree. And going back to, you were saying like writing charts versus putting stuff to memory. A goal of mine, I can't always do it, but I'm trying more and more to just put everything to memory after playing in a wedding band for 10 years and looking at an iPad and sometimes realizing I've played this song 1,000 times, no joke, and I still don't know it. And it's like, because this is my pacifier, my hand being the iPad. And
yes.
So, as the last few years, I've made more of an return to trying to play more creative music and trying to be artistic and all that. It's like, if I'm playing original music, I want to put it to memory. And the reason I'm saying that is that's how you can really know the arrangement. Eyes aren't glued to an iPad. You're able to look around. You're able to see the rhythm guitar player and go, yep, we're going. You know what I mean? Or
yeah.
I think really great drummers do this so well also. They can just play a subtle thing, and then you start hearing that hi-hat open up, and you're like, we're going somewhere. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Doesn't have to be a big fill or like a little dynamic crescendo. This great drummer knows the song, and he's
right.
And
for sure, but the drummer doesn't have the advantage of a harmonic content to like lead the harmony a little bit. So, but yeah, for sure.
And then one other thing I want to say, I kind of joke with some of my other non-bass player musician friends. I say, the bass probably has the hardest job because you can't, if you don't know the song, you're screwed. It's like everyone's expecting you to play the root note typically. And
on beat one.
We
can, like, guitar players can like come in on two and like, it's cool. The drummer doesn't have to worry about what chord it is.
Yep.
We have to, if we're not on beat one, there's no like waiting to see what the chord is.
I was doing this like a show the other week, and it was a nice event. It was like a nice production. The band was somewhat of a pickup band, but professionals, and we're playing like a large range of music, and we're playing Counting Crows. Oh my gosh, maybe Rain King. I think that was a song, or I forget what song it was. But anyways, there's a point where the bridge. It's not the bridge. It's the pre-chorus. We're in A, if I remember correctly, and it's like a B minor, so a 2 chord to a G, a flat 7, and basically coming out of the solo, it goes into a verse. But I, like, just for a split second, went to that pre-chorus, and I hit a B minor, and I immediately knew it was wrong, and the entire band went to the pre-chorus. I played for like a second.
Yeah, they followed you. Yeah.
And I have goosebumps right now, and I was like, this is bad, and I was like trying to get everybody back on track. I just stopped playing for a second, and the singer's kind of looking at me, and I said, I'm sorry, man, I messed up. But it's like it happens, but it was a reminder. It's like, man, we have so much power.
Totally.
I'm not even talking a measure. I played like a B for a second and then went to a D. Now we're getting nerdy, but it's like B minor is the relative minor of D major. I should have been on the 4 chord, the D, and I'm trying to tell everybody, no, I'm sorry. And it was about 7 or 8 bars of pretty uneasy music.
Been there.
Then we got back on track. So, good bass.
Yeah, we're powerful.
And like you said, I mean, the givens are be a good person, be on time, be able to play and have reliable gear. But then it's like the things that make you extra special, or when you're more than a bass player, you know the song, and you could be a music director or just guiding the band, making eye contact with the audience, with people in the band. It's all those little things, right? And then like you say, good tone, good feel.
Yeah.
Great. I love it.
Don't overplay.
Don't overplay. Yeah. Well, you know what? That might, this next question I'm going to ask, for me, the answer is overplaying. Describe a profound learning experience or hard lesson you've had along the way.
Ooh. Uh, eh, I know there was an artist I was playing with. God, when was that? Doesn't really matter. 2000 something. Guy named Robbie Dracarosa. He's well known in South America and stuff, and did pretty well in the U.S. Anyway, decent sized artist. He had a song that it had like a bar of 7, and it like was weird, and like the bass started, and we had these big showcases for big labels, and we had rehearsed a lot with, what was it? We rehearsed a lot with some tracks in the studio, and then because we didn't have him there, so we had like vocal tracks. I hope I'm not getting too far into the weeds, trying to get the cliff notes happening. Yeah. Anyway, this song, like, I think we were starting the set with it. It had this like atmospheric intro, but it had like I say, there was like a couple bars of like 7, but they had to turn around and come back in the right spot. And then we were playing the tracks. So if you got off from the tracks, it was like a disaster. And it was a disaster, like, because in rehearsals, like, so bass player was kind of leading the thing. Like when I turned the bar 7 around and then came back into 1, it was like me sort of going, here's 1. Yeah. And I got kind of nervous on the show. Like, wait, what was that, the 7 or what? And I just wasn't super prepared. I think I was a little overconfident, and we had rehearsed a lot with this other thing, and now things were different. And like, I blew it, and we had to stop this show and start over because of me.
Wow.
And man, after that, like, I think I just wasn't as, I don't know, arrogant about my confidence and stuff. And it just taught me that you got to be prepared and really like have the stuff solid. You can't be like, yeah, I think I know what's going to happen here, blah, blah, blah. You got to really be like, okay. And also what I should have done and what we did after that was like put some cue count in things in the in-ears and like sussed it out so that it was like foolproof, fail-proof, and so, yeah, that was a bad moment for me, knowing that the whole thing fell apart because of me, and we had to like stop and restart the song. And so, I think, like I say, like just really having things dialed in and solid, and exactly how things are going to work, and you're really confident on them.
Man, I'm blown away. Thank you for sharing that story. I think that's like, obviously I'm not happy to hear that, but it's very honest. Yeah. And I mean, I've played a lot of like CCM, contemporary Christian music services, and it's all Ableton, click tracks and guide tracks. And there are moments, I mean, there's nothing in 7, but there's moments where it's like ethereal space. Right. And I've been a part of like live recordings where a singer maybe drops a beat, and then the whole band, we're all looking around going, well, now what do we do? Because this is sequenced, like the lighting in the room is sequenced. Oh God! And I'm going, thank God I'm not the music director, but I'm scared. Like I'm uneasy in that situation. And then poor Joe, the music director, he's like in the microphone, the talk back, telling the singer, he's like, you're off, while they're like trying to sing and lead this.
Oh, jeez.
And
wow, so crazy.
I mean, once again, goosebumps, but not the good kind of goosebumps. And the band were just like, what do we do? And it's supposed to be this epic ethereal bridge into a huge chorus. Right. The lights go up. And man. And it's sort of like, we were joking afterwards. It's like Mel Gibson and Braveheart are like, hold. And it was like, no matter what, we have to get back on beat 1. And I mean, somehow we did it, but let's just say that recording didn't make the live record. So, yikes. This next question is maybe a follow-up, and, you could say pass, or if you have another one. So it's, can you share a gig horror story? which is maybe not necessarily a learning experience for you, but just something that's like uncomfortable and just like everything's not going the way you planned, and it's not necessarily you did.
That last story I told,
that's like that might be the horror.
Yeah. Are there any other? I'm sure. I mean,
that's a pretty good horror story.
Yeah, that was definitely a horror.
That's all wrapped in one.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm sure there. I mean, I've had all kinds of crazy gigs in my. How long I've been doing this. Like 40 years.
Yeah.
Off the bat, God, I can't. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've done drudgery gigs. When I was in college in Texas, I was playing in a cover band, doing weddings, and loading in through the back of the hotel past the garbage dumpster. Oh, we all know that hot smell, right?
Yeah, hot summer night.
Yeah. And just doing playing the wedding gigs or like whatever, but yeah, man. Nothing's jumping out, but I've definitely had some horror gigs for sure.
The story you shared was incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Kind of shift gears a little bit, John. What's something you wish to improve upon? This could be anything. I mean, music related, or just what's something that you're like yearning to improve upon?
Wow. I'll tell you what I'm trying to improve upon these days is singing.
Yeah.
I've almost always sang backgrounds. But I've never had any vocal training. I just, I can kind of hit the pitch and blah, but I don't know technically how to work this instrument.
Yeah.
And I did some voice lessons probably 10, 12 years ago. And I don't know, the teacher I got, he was supposed to be some fancy LA teacher, vocal coach to the stars or something. And it was just useless. I don't know why. He just didn't help me. And then more recently, about 9 months ago, I started studying I found a different teacher, that's been really helpful. So I have been working on that, practicing, like doing all the, vocal exercises every day and doing that and trying to work on that. And I sing quite a bit of backgrounds with The Who, but I've been singing a lot more of them lately.
Nice.
And the lessons have been helping a lot. And so that's getting better. But I get the privilege of working with some, like ringer musicians in LA that are just amazing singers, and I don't know if I'll ever be that, but I want to be good, and I want to be confident if I get called for a gig, like, hey, we need a bass player that can sing, it's like, all right, cool. I don't know that I want to be a lead, I don't want to go out doing gigs singing lead or anything like that, but I want to be a really like solid background singer in tune and anyway, that's something I'm trying to improve.
So sort of like a follow-up question to that, what's the process when you're learning a bass line and a harmony, right? Like, because it's two different things. My joke is I can sing like some kind of involved line if the bass line is simple, or I can play like an involved bass line and sing oohs and ahs. But the second, the McCartney thing or Sting, it's like, although I have a theory about Sting, and I love Sting. He's one of my favorites. Some of his lines are like perfectly placed where his vocal, think about Walking on the Moon, bum ba dum, da 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 da.
I don't think that's an accident.
Yeah, it's like everything's in its perfect place. So, what is that like for you, especially as you're doing more of that? I'm
right
in The Who. These lines, you've been playing them, but there's more of a vocal heavy lifting duty. So, tell me about.
Well, talking about Sting, my understanding is that some of the stuff that was a little, more pat your stomach and rub your head vibe for him, he had to like really work on that. Like he had to sit down and practice some of that stuff to make it work. You know, it wasn't like he just ran out there and like, hey, I'm Sting and here we go. Like he had to really shed. So for me, I upped my the amount I was singing on The Who probably 4 or 5 months ago. And there were a few songs that were like, whoa, this is going to be challenging to play the bass part and do the singing at the same time. So one of the things that I did that was super helpful for me was, again, in Logic, I sequenced the vocal line and the bass line in the sequencer. And then you can see in, like, when you do the piano roll, you know what I mean? You know, like in the little MIDI sequencer and piano roll, you can see where the stuff lines up and where it doesn't. You slow it way down and hear the two play along with it super slow. So one of the main things after figuring out sort of where things line up and where like bass parts are in between the vocal, you sort of can see that and figure that out mentally, and then just play and sing it super slow.
Yeah.
And then just work up to it, you know, take it small bits at a time, like a measure or two at a time, work them really slow. I mean, it just took time and patience, you know. There's some where you just, you know, you're playing eighth notes on the bass note on the bass and you sing and it's no problem. But there were a few where I just had to like really like put in the time.
I can only imagine. How do I want to say this? I don't want to come across like I'm a strong player and singer because I find it very challenging. I like singing. I don't do a lot of it. I come from a bluegrass and country background. Those were the first professional bands I was playing in. And so that was sort of like ignorance is bliss, where they're just like, this is your part and you sing it. But that's more country two feels and 1/5 bass lines. What I'm getting at, and I think this is maybe geared towards bass players where our ears are so fine-tuned to hearing the low notes, it's really helpful to actually be able to listen to, say, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young or the band, and not that I can hear it and like immediately know what every vocal part's doing, but it's just like a different part of our ear, our brain to process that and get
100%
from just hearing the root motion of the bass. And then I think that's like... I'm kind of thinking out loud. Sometimes with some of my students, I think they're so focused on the bass, and I might ask, well, what's the melody to this song? And they're going, well, I don't know. And that doesn't mean I can play the melody to every song, or you can, but it's like, that goes back to what makes a good bass player. You have to have an awareness of what the melody is, what the harmonies are, the arrangement. That's especially, now I'm really kind of going off on a tangent, but what happens when a singer drops a verse by accident? You know, this is like the opposite of the CCM Ableton click track machine. It's just like, oh, that's verse 3. Like, now I'm paying attention because does that mean we're going to the bridge, or like, are we going to make up lost time? If you're just
happens in the Who all the time.
I
Oh, we're going there. Oh, what? We're playing that song now.
If you're so set on like either your chart or I play this song and it's 84 bars, whatever, every time, and that's how I play it. It's like, that's not going to work out for you sometimes. That's so cool that you're doing that, man. I think it's really inspiring for me and for people to hear that. You know, you're super successful.
An old fart like me learning a new trick.
On it, working.
The old dog.
I love it. All right, now. Here comes another one of these 3 questions, so I'll give you a little more notice this time. First time I asked 3 songs that made a lasting impact on you. This time, and this might be more from my teacher brain side, what are 3 bass lines you think every bass player should know? I'm not saying the 3 greatest bass lines. It's just like, I got a bunch that I could list off.
No. Oh, my God.
Like something that would really inform you, and you could say, hey, you know that line you learned in this song? You hear it in 30 other songs. You know, you should recognize those intervals so you can now play a whole style of music or something. And I'm not putting that weight on you, John. I'm just, for example, I'll give you one. Yeah, go. Can I give you one?
No, please give me one.
I think Van Morrison's Intimistic is a bass line that every bass player should know.
Interesting.
I think hearing that rhythm, hearing the 1, 5, 6, 5, I'm probably not singing the right key. Hearing that root going up to the sixth. There's so many songs that have that, especially in that sort of, I'll call it singer-songwriter, 60s, 70s.
Right.
To me, that's like you got to know that. Or I'll give you another one, like Steer It Up, Bob Marley, or Stir It Up. I say steer because that's what it sounds like they're saying. It's a great introduction into triads and just a really thoughtful bass line, outlines changes, melodic, rhythmic,
right,
rock steady.
See,
yeah,
I don't do any teaching.
I
know. So these are things that I'm just like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Awesome. God, I don't know if I know the answer to that I'm failing on these three song questions.
One, it's we're trying some things here. So,
well, maybe with somebody that's not such an idiot like me, you might get some good answers.
What was a bass line that you learned? I want to word this properly. Like for me, I'm going to grab my bass for a second. I know we said we probably wouldn't be grabbing basses, but this is just a little example. But this Intimistic, just that little bit. Then I heard Midnight Rider, the Allman Brothers, and there's a part where it goes into the solo, and it's different key, but the bass player goes. And I remember like being a teenager and going, that's the same. I was like, that's the Intimistic bass line, even though it's not exactly the same. There's like something, some gears were turning.
Well, definitely knowing how those intervals sound, like being able to go, right with your ear, go, hey, that's a fifth. And I remember early on, like learning like a bossa nova, right? 1 5 5 1 5 5, and that just like got my brain to always be able to hear a 1 5. It's like it's the bossa nova interval, so being able to like learning a few bass lines, like you say, where there's the sixth and the fifth, like to be able to recognize those right away, almost like say, oh, that's red and that's blue. Like that's an important thing as any musician, to have ears where you can go, hear those intervals and know where they are on the neck and be, but as far as, go ahead.
So going off script again, which this is great. Like what,
good.
Early on, what was your like introduction into interval ear training? And I don't mean it like really nerdy or to scare anybody off. It's just, this is an important part of playing music. As you said, like if you can make those associations, that bossa nova, that's something you learned as a teenager and it's still serving you, like you're still going, that sounds like a 1-5. So was it just little nuggets? I know you come from a musical family, right? Like you had some older brothers that were playing also?
I did, yeah. I mean, I would say my main ear training was trying to, I wanted to learn how to play this song.
Yeah.
And I studied, my private teacher was classical bass. I didn't have an electric bass private teacher, but I was playing electric bass very young. So learning electric bass, I was like, oh, I want to learn this bass part. Well, hit play on the tape recorder and that's not it, trial and error, and just learning stuff, learning bass lines and different parts off of records, and tapes and stuff. And that's where I got my ear training, was just learning songs by ear.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember being in high school and was at like a youth group night or something. And I think the guy's name was actually John, but he was like another bass player and he was playing Come Together. And I remember like everyone, like it felt like everyone was circling around like, oh, this is so cool. And I was like, oh, like, I just remember being like envious, but going home and then trying to figure out Come Together. And it's like, wasn't perfect, but it's
right.
Doom, doom. I'm not going to see singing bass lines is hard because some of those intervals are such large leaps.
Big jumps. Yeah. Especially on that song.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, anyways, I'm just reflecting on, high school. All right. Next question, John.
So I dodged that question pretty well.
It's good. This is great. This is fantastic. All right. Who is a underrated or underappreciated bassist that you admire? Someone who maybe...
Randy Jackson.
Bingo. Bam. Yeah. Talk about it. People don't know Randy is a bad boy.
Dude, he is amazing. I've talked a little bit in other interviews about there's a Journey record called Raised on Radio, I think. I forget the name of the song. I can think I'll Be All Right Without You. I think that's the name. It's something like that.
Okay.
Bro. So it's eighth notes. It's like riding along. It's like BPMs in the like low, like mid 70s. Like, it's like, and dude, his feel on that playing those eighth notes, he's just playing eighth notes. Bong, 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 bong. But dude, it feels like a zillion bucks. And he does stuff where he'll like start to he'll play them kind of like short notes, and then when it starts to get towards, it's like almost to the chorus, he'll start lengthening the notes like just a little bit, totally, and it just like brings, and it's like, and his tone is like, I don't know, it's kind of a silly song, but and it's a period in Journey where it wasn't the original band anymore, it was later in their career, whatever. But dude, that thing blows me away. And then there's so he was the musical director for Mariah Carey, and he played bass with her on a ton of stuff when she came out. And there's a lot like MTV Unplugged with him playing bass, bro.
Yeah,
so good. There are some gnarly fills that he like throws in there. Dude. I mean, and so many people now, they just go, oh, he's the host from American Idol or whatever. Like, no.
I'm pretty sure he played the key bass on Whitney Houston's "I Want to Dance with Somebody." I think
that might be right. Yeah,
we should fact check that first.
Could be. He's for sure played keyboard bass on some recordings for sure. There's another goofy, silly song, the Divinals. I Touch Myself.
Yeah,
weird song. Yeah. Okay, but dude,
is that an Australian band? Maybe
they are. Yeah, it's a duo from Australia, and then they had who was playing drums on that? It was I can picture his face, but I can't think of. Doesn't matter. Anyway,
Andy played on that song, the Every Time I Think About You.
Yeah, check out that bass line and the feel. It's. I mean, like I say, it's kind of a silly song, but the bass performance to me is just like chef's kiss.
He definitely played on "I Want to Dance with Somebody." I just checked it. He's labeled as
the keyboard player.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's awesome with those rips.
Exactly. And then
I used to play that in a cover band on keyboard bass.
That's awesome.
I was rocking that.
That's fantastic. And then he played like fusion with Jean-Luc Ponty.
Yes,
he's
correct.
A bad cat. I love that you said Randy Jackson. I was not expecting that, and it's like, yeah, of course, he does not get the credit he deserves.
No. Oh, and a quick story. When I pretty early after moving to LA, I'd probably been here a year or two, and I got a call. Back in those days, there would be like a solo artist that's like just trying to get their record deal, and they do a showcase for labels, right? And they need a backup band, and like people would put together these bands to play a label showcase, and you get paid a bit, and like it's kind of a weird thing. But so I got a call for like, hey, can you do this thing on 2 weeks away, and it's at SIR and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, yeah, how much does it pay? Okay, what's the date? Yeah, I think I'm free. Blah blah blah. Okay, sorry, what was your name? Oh, this is Randy Jackson. I was like, what? Do you mean the bass player Randy Jackson? And he called me because he was at that point he was like a label guy at Sony Records or something. He was like an A&R agent, he was doing like that kind of thing. And yeah, I was just like, I was like sort of in business mode, like whatever, like booking the gig, blah, blah. And then suddenly I was just like, dude, you're Randy Jackson. Cause I was, huge fan. And so I got to like meet him at that showcase and stuff. And like,
That's awesome.
he hired me to play bass on that thing. But anyway, just a little side note. It was a cool moment. You know, I mean, I was in LA for like a year and a half or something, and I'm just like, oh my God, you're my hero.
Yeah. Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Very.
I should have gotten a lesson with him. What a dummy.
I wonder what Randy's. I know he got like really into kind of like health and stuff like that. Or I haven't. The thing with the internet is it's easy to lose track of people. As funny as that sounds, it's like
Right.
Instagram's just spitting out content or whatever. But I remember.
Yeah, I mean, he became a celebrity.
He did.
So I think, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He's doing
It's like wellness.
celebrity things.
I said fitness,
Yeah.
but like wellness. You know, I don't. I'm saying that because it's like, I saw something on the internet about him doing something with supplements. Like,
Right.
you don't better fact check that. All right, now second question or next question is kind of all along the same lines. Favorite bassist that isn't an obvious influence on your playing. You know,
Oh, interesting. Wow. I
someone you
mean,
just dig, but maybe you don't play like, or you don't have a chance to play that kind of music.
I have an interesting feeling about Flea. Like, I think Flea's an amazing bass player, and he's a really seems. I've never met him, but he seems like really cool. Like I love his vibe. I just I totally respect his bass playing. I can't it's not for me.
Yep.
Doesn't work for me. But at the same time, I'm like, wow, he's really good. I respect what he does, and I don't know if that's quite the. How about somebody that I like but didn't influence me? That's an interesting question. Which is the question that you asked me. Because I think the Flea thing was
I think
sort of
that's
adjacent.
And along the Flea lines, just for a moment, this is man, probably like 15 years ago, but there was some big bass. I don't know if it was like a Bass Player magazine event, but it's Stanley Clark and Stuart Copeland. It's like their band, and they're playing School Days, and there is like 20 bass players on the stage. I'm not even kidding. Maybe 15. Like Wayman Tisdale when he was alive, Bunny Brunel, Stuart Ham, Billy, I never know how to say his last name, Sheenan, just all the who's who of bass players.
Right.
Flea's up there. And Flea takes an amazing solo on School Days. It's like super musical.
Really? I'll have to check that out.
I'll find the link. It's it's an older
Please.
video, so it's not like the greatest audio, but it's like
Fine.
there's a lot of pyrotechnics happening, and Flea, and
Interesting.
he's got like his sort of newspaper boy, like newsboy hat on. You can't even really like see his face. His hat's covering his face, and he's got his bass really low. And you're kind of like, man, who is that guy? Like, that guy sounds great. And it's like, oh, it's Flea, and he's just ripping a solo on School Days, kind of get in, get out, then he steps back. And anyways, it's a nice moment. Yeah. So, but I would agree.
Here's an answer to answer the question, actually, as I think Jocko. I don't think I pull, I love Jocko. I've listened to piles of Jocko. I don't think I play anything remotely. I don't think I've pulled anything from him. I don't think I play like him at all.
Yeah.
Or ever have. Even when I play fretless, I'm like, it doesn't come through me. Even though I love, oh my God, such a fan. So there you go.
That's great. That's a great answer. All right. We're rounding home base here, man. We're rounding third plate. What's something you're proud of?
Honestly, just the fact that I can make a living Los Angeles playing bass.
Yeah.
To me, that was my goal for, since I was a kid, I never wanted to be a rock star or anything like that. But just to be able to make a decent living, in this town, it's tough, but I'm pretty proud of that.
As you should be, man. It's incredible. What's next for you?
So the Who is going out. I leave day after tomorrow to head to London, do rehearsals for a couple. We do like 2 rehearsals, typical Who fashion. And then we do a handful of shows in Italy, like 3 shows in Italy. And then we do about 6 weeks of touring in the US, which is pretty nice. We did 2 shows last year, all year, which was a drag for me. So yeah, that's next. But they're billing this as Farewell America. I forget exactly the wording, but it's some sort of like farewell thing.
This might be the big finale.
I mean, they did a farewell tour in 1982. Yeah. So, but you know, Pete and Roger are both they both just turned 80. Yeah. Like, you know, and they're in great shape. I mean, Roger still sings his butt off. His hearing is rough. I feel for him, man. Can you imagine? But he still sings great, you know, and so, but I don't know what the future holds for the Who. I'm not counting on, you know, a Who tour in 2026. So yeah. Then it's, you know, reach out to everybody I know.
Absolutely.
And tell them that I'm available. Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, that is the letting people know. I mean, that's something I do from time to time, especially because like last year when the Who wasn't touring, people just think I'm out on tour with the Who. I'm like, dude, we haven't toured in 6 months. Like, I'm just here. I went out the other night to see a friend play, and he was like, John, you're in town. I'm like, bro, I'm always in town. What are you talking about? I won't be the next 3 months, but and of course, it's hilarious. The typical thing, you know, feast or famine, when it rains, it pours. Like the last half of last year, like 2024, was like just tumbleweeds for me. There was nothing going on. And then, of course, this year, like the Who goes out on tour, and I'm getting calls for this and that and the other thing. And I'm just like, I'm not available now. Why didn't you call me 6 months ago when I was sitting on my hands? Like, you know, anyway. That's what's next is a few months of touring with the Who, which is great, and then I have no idea.
Yeah.
So
incredible. Yeah.
Figure it out. I don't know.
Is there any I'm going off script again. Is there any records that are coming out that you played on that you're really fired up about? Like maybe I know you've told me about didn't you do a record, Valley Queen? Is that right? Or am I saying, is that?
Valley Famous.
Dang, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Don't look up Valley Queen. Look up Valley Famous.
I wonder. We should look up Valley Queen. Maybe they're great.
Yeah, I feel like that's a band. Valley Famous, right? I do remember checking that out. This would have been a few years ago that you.
This was a few years ago. Yeah, that was fun.
So, what's in that? Like something that's maybe not on people's radar that you're just like, this artist is awesome, or you're really stoked about what you've contributed. What's going on?
Yeah, so I did a thing. There's a okay, I'll tell you a little bit of a story. I went to a local bar around the corner from me that some friends were playing at. They were doing kind of a straight ahead jazz thing. I went to check them out, and this guy sits in on guitar. And he's burning. I'm like, who is that dude? And they're like, oh, that's Paul Simon's drummer.
Drummer on guitar. Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
And so his name's Jim Oblon. I hope I'm saying that right. Oblon. So he and I kind of have become friends. This must have been like a year and a half ago that I went out and heard him. Sweetest guy in the world. Monster guitar player, singer, kind of bluesy guitar singer. So he and I kind of like drummed up a friendship, and he's like, hey, you want to play on the, do this gig, whatever. So we started playing together. He's so good. I love playing with him. And he had this opportunity. It's funded by AES microphones, is that right? AES, I'm pretty sure. They're like they make ribbon mics. And the guy that designed those microphones. He's been around forever. And he started funding these recording projects to sort of show off these microphones. And so Jim was like, hey, they contacted me about doing this. You want to play bass and blah, blah, blah. So we did this live record. We like went in the studio and just were winging it. We did like 2 takes of each song just in one night and did like an EP. What is the name of the record? Live at somebody's house.
I'm gonna try,
but it wasn't. It was that.
Quick.
Please.
Can you spell the guy's last name? O-B.
Oblon, I think. There, I'll find it. Oh my God. Sorry if I'm.
This is awesome. Live from the Foo Bar. Does that sound right?
Is that right?
Oh no, this is from 2013. Hang on a sec. Live at Aspen's place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Live at Aspen's place, which is a studio. So it wasn't a house. Because I was like, it wasn't at a house.
With you, John Button, and Steve Haas.
Steve Haas is a bad boy.
He's a good drummer. Yeah.
Great drummer.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just did that. It was wild. No headphones.
Awesome.
Just old school in the room. And that was fun. And I thought it turned out great.
What amp were you playing through?
I was using I have a mid-60s B15, but I was using a different cabinet.
Gotcha.
From a company that shall remain nameless.
Yeah, I realized I was like, that might be a loaded question. Well, so is there baffling up? I just did a live EP with my band, and we were, in the room live, no overdubs and that kind of stuff.
I heard some of that. It sounds great, by the way.
Oh man, thank you. That means I use that. By
the way, I was listening to it the other day, and I was thinking about EP, and I'm like, what? It's a shorter record, right? But it's extended play.
Yeah.
What does EP mean? What it's extended, but it's shorter. I was just like, for a minute, I was confused. Anyway, sorry. You played what was that? Is that a Coronado?
Well, the Coronado's leaning. It is, but it's leaning on a mid '60s B15.
Oh,
which is, so
copy that. Yeah,
B15 with this
with a P bass,
tried and true.
That's the right way to do it.
Yeah, that's right. The Coronado's cool. It's this is funny because I'm trying to sell it, so. It's
amazing. That's the best bass ever. Somebody should buy it.
Exactly. It's not for me. If anything, it's like I've been playing precision basses before I knew what the difference was. I was 18 years old, and that's what I got. And
nice.
That's
well
just
done.
home for me,
Me too.
And I've told this story before, but as there seemed to be this P-bass resurgence, I thought, well, this is great. This is the bass that I like to play. So I've been tempted a little bit by like other instruments. I've owned a bunch of instruments, but it always comes back to the P bass. So the Coronado is great, and it's like I keep thinking I want some of that hollow body sound, that flavor, something you and I've messaged about, or like a Hawk or an H22. I wanted to try the Coronado. I will say, have you played a Coronado, or maybe you have one?
I don't have one. I mean, I've played one in like a music store, but I haven't really sat with one.
The neck feels like a Fender, which is a bonus to people.
It's like a jazz bass neck, right?
Exactly. It's like a short scale jazz bass neck. The neck feels great, and then it's got this hollow body sound. But at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, it's just P bass. That's kind of my infatuation.
They just work, man. And I'll tell you, the cabinet thing with the B15, the original cabinets for me, they lack a little high end and they're a little like mid-rangey. A lot of engineers love them because it's a known quantity. They've been recorded so much, but this other cabinet, so I had my B15 put into a head box.
Yeah.
And it was one of the old ones that has like the XLR speaker it was weird. So I had it redone, so it's just got a 1/4-inch speaker output on the back. And when I did that, I realized, I can plug it into all these other cabinets. Because it had the XLR speaker thing, I only ever used it with its cabinet that it goes with.
Cabinet, yeah.
Right. So once I got it changed over into a head box and the 1/4-inch thing, I was like, well, now I can plug it into this cabinet. Let's see what that sounds like. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So it has a little more extended, a little more highs, a little more lows with a full range cabinet, and it's kind of cool.
So that's kind of your secret. Well, maybe not so secret anymore. That's your go-to.
Not as anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I want to be mindful of your time, John. So we don't. I kind of wanted to avoid the gear talk, but I mean,
come on, let's gear talk.
We're talking gear. So B15 head into a special cabinet that shall remain nameless, and then Noble, or what's your kind of DI preamp of preference these days?
Noble. A lot of people are into the capo.
Oh yeah, the Jad Freer. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet. I mean, I did my Noble works. I don't need to go chasing anything else. So yeah, the Noble and a B15 and it's like cool. I mean, at home here, I have an SVT that I'll actually, I plug it into that same cabinet. It's a single 12 cabinet that I use with my B15, which then it's not a B15 anymore.
Yeah, I mean, here's the philosophical question. It's like, is the B15 the whole package? Is it the amp? Is it the EQ of the tubes in the preamp, or is it the cabinet?
Right.
I use this, it's off screen here, but this guy, Tonecraft, I think he's out of California, and it's an amazing tube preamp with the B15 EQ, and I've used this thing every day.
Oh, I've used those.
I love it.
Yeah, those are great.
And so, does it sound like that B15? No, but it sounds great. It's like a great DI. I think it sounds amazing. And so then it's like, okay, well, yeah, the second you put any speaker cab into a situation, it's a different variable.
100%. Yeah.
So and so the SVT into a 112, that's probably pretty gnarly. I mean, are you running the SVT pretty high to get it to break up, or do you just like a big fat kind of?
No, yeah, I keep it down so it doesn't, because I could blow that.
That's true.
Single 12 across the room with an SVT.
Yeah.
So I can keep it turned down, but it still has that SVT EQ with like that real biting treble vibe, you know? And I'll put a pedal in front of it to grind it up.
Yeah.
Or jump the channel sometimes. Right.
On this Who tour that's coming up, is this going to be in-ears? I know there was some experimenting. You guys were playing with an orchestra, and you were having a pretty small stage rig, right? I mean, is it at the point where there's no amps on stage for you, or do you get to still have a rig on stage?
It's yes and no. So yes, when we were with the orchestra, I had to pretty much have almost no amp. I had like a little thing there so that there was some sound on stage, and if my in-ears went out, I could still play. And also the orchestra had something to hear, but also there was violins literally like a foot and a half from me with condenser mics on them. So, I had to keep the volume down. So I started using the Line 6 Helix thing, which worked great. And then I, a few years ago, moved to the Quad Cortex. And man, that thing sounds good, and there's so much flexibility with it. So I was thinking about going back to just, because this will be our first tour without orchestra in, 5 years or something.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about going back to just real amps and none of the modeling stuff. But man, the modeling stuff, like if you go down a rabbit hole and really tweak with it, which I have sadly spent many hours tweaking, it sounds really good, and it's the same every night, and you don't get any drums in the bass cabinet mic and blah, 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 blah. So I'm mainly using that to send to the front of the house, the Quad Cortex. But I'm going to have an SVT as well on stage, just for some stage volume. What's that? Yeah, the look. Yeah. The way I use the Quad Cortex is when I originally was doing the Who with amps, I would have an SVT, and then I'd have like a Marshall style guitar amp, and I have both of those running, because I found that the distortion from a Marshall was the distortion I wanted to hear. I couldn't get it out of a pedal. So I'm sort of doing that with the Quad Cortex. So I have an SVT, sent out one send, and a a Marshall that I actually captured. My friend Pete Thorne, he's got an old Plexi, and we went to his studio and set it up. And you can do with the Quad Cortex, you can do captures. So I captured his amp. We mic'd it up and got it sounding great. And so I have that sort of model that we made of a Marshall. And the way I can run it is I have the 4 buttons across the front of the Quad Cortex. I have like no grind on the guitar amp, a little bit more, and a ton. And I can just at will go between those 4 levels of grind on that. And that most of the show is that, just changing the amount of grind on the guitar amp, and then the SVT stays the same. And then I have a couple other songs where like I pop in a chorus and this and that and the other thing. And it just all, like, you have it all programmed and it's the same every night, and it's just awesome.
That's amazing. And then does the Quad, there's not a built-in DI on it, is there? Or are you bringing your Noble out, or like using a radio?
I have my Noble. So I hit the Noble first.
Okay. Yeah.
And I send that to the front of the house, which sometimes I have reservations about, because then they can just use the Noble. I'm like, no, you got to use the amp. So there are those, minor battles sometimes. But we've got it worked out. Last couple tours, it's been sounding good. But part of the reason is, like, if the Quad Cortex for some reason goes down, loses power,
you got the Noble.
It takes about, I forget, almost a minute, like maybe 45 seconds to reboot.
Yeah.
That's a long time when you're standing on stage with Pete Townsend staring at you. So if I run into the Noble first, that means the Noble, there's something going for, like, it's just DI bass, but it sounds good, and like, cool. We can, the show can go on until the Noble figures out what it's going. I've never had a problem with the Noble. It's never been an issue, but that's a little safety net for me to go straight into the Noble first. And then to answer your question, yeah, the Quad has 2 XLR DI outs.
Okay.
So I send those to the front of the house. And then, I mean, the thing has like a million outputs on it that you can set up however you want. It's very, like, you can configure it. It's very flexible. So, and then I have the out going to my amp. I have, I can skip the SVT model and have that just straight bass going to the amp that's coming out of the Quad Cortex, but it's not the modeled amp. Blah, 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 blah.
Man, I mean, that's really cool. Have you always been interested in the, like, I was going to say tinkering, but that sounds condescending. I mean, like, have you been a tech guy with the Helix or earlier versions of that, like Line 6?
Yeah.
You enjoyed the modeling. It's always something that's you understand. For me, I'm such a simpleton. I'm like, where do I plug in my cable? And that's kind of it. But I'm not here to tell anybody that's the right way to do it. It's really interesting to me. Like, you're talking about all these routing options, and I'm almost like stressed out thinking about that. But it's like, obviously you've really figured out a way that works for you. So
I mean, it's, different strokes for different folks. I mean, there's definitely people are wired differently. Like, I know lots of great bass players that are like, that is not for me, the whole, and it can be stressful. Like, if things are not working right and you got to go through menus and stuff to like you're at rehearsal and everybody's staring at you and you're like going through menus trying to like fix something, it can be stressful. But yeah, I've always been pretty technically savvy, that my brain is kind of wired that way. So it feels comfortable for me. I got my first Line 6 pod thing. I got like the rack mount bass pod. God, I don't know, eons ago when those first came out, like a long time ago. And it got some really good sounds from that thing. So yeah, I'm comfortable with that stuff. And I find, some people will get some of these modeling devices and just turn them on and plug in and pull up a, stock patch and go, this thing doesn't sound good, and so, I've, like I said, I've spent hours down rabbit holes. Yeah, I mean, there's so much you can change which speaker you're using and then which microphone you're using with which, and then when you start getting into how many combinations there are between all those, it gets deep. But yeah.
And speaking of, deep or nerdy, I guess so you're miking your B15 or your 12 cab. This is a two-part question. What are your preferred microphones for recording, and then are you using those modeled versions of those microphones in the quad as well? Does that make
Yeah, totally. So I have found a microphone that I absolutely love for miking my bass cabinet here at home when I record. And it's one of my best friends is a great recording engineer named Chris Steffen. He had turned me on to this Soyuz bomblet.
Okay.
And so I got that, and that thing just sounds killer on a bass cabinet. It's a really cool microphone. It's not super expensive for how good of a microphone it is. So that's what I use at home all the time. And I use it on my upright too. It sounds great. I am not using a capture of that so the SVT, I'm using the stock captures in the Quad Cortex, and then the microphone options are what's built in, the standard stuff. So I haven't done a capture with that Soyuz mic. No.
That's very cool. Upright. Oh, so I know you said you were studying classical, so you've been playing upright for a long time.
Yeah.
With your schedule, how are you maintaining, let's call them those chops, or the upright? I
am not.
Yeah. I saw
but I will tell you
a jazz gig the other day, right?
Yes, you did. Yeah. And it was so I mean, it's like you say, it's tough, especially on tour. I mean, I have been fortunate to do a number of tours where I was playing upright on the tour, and that's super helpful. But with the Who, I could bring an upright out just to practice, but I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, my upright chops go up and down, and I got called for that jazz gig. It was something with an organization that I work with now and then. I wanted to keep that relationship solid, and it was a really good gig. It paid good.
Yeah, I bet.
And I wanted to do it. So I was like, sure. And I hadn't played upright a lot in a while, especially, this was like a straight ahead trio gig, bass, guitar, and drums. So man, I had to shed. I just, played along. There's a bunch of YouTube videos that are music minus bass.
Oh yeah.
Straight ahead songs that have the changes, in the video, and so you just look at the changes in the video and play along. So I did a bunch of that, but I had to be really careful. I had a session the next morning, so I had to be really careful not to get a blister.
Yeah,
because I couldn't, on my right hand, if I have a blister on my finger where I'm trying to do a session, it's not cool. So I had to be really careful not to get a blister and blah blah blah. So it was definitely a challenge, and they're like, "Yo, John, take a solo on rhythm changes at 1,000,000 miles an hour." I'm like, no. But so yeah,
you felt okay though at the end of the night.
Yeah, it was okay. I'm fortunate that I started real young, and so some of the stuff is sort of cemented in there. It's not I think if I hadn't been playing upright for 50 years, almost 50 years, 40 something, I think it would be harder for me to jump in and out of it. But I think because I just have been doing it for so long, some of it sort of stays there. And like I say, it kind of comes and goes. There are times where I've had to do a record where I'm doing upright, so I'll shed for a month before that, and then it's decent. It's funny though, because literally my next door neighbor is one of the best classical upright player. So he does his name's Mike Valerio. He does all the film score. He's like the first call film score dude. Wow. So he can sit in the bass section and he's so good. And they, like you need a Marcus Miller slap thing, no problem. You need Ray Brown jazz bass, no problem. You need like anything. He's like bonkers good and the nicest guy in the world. And my next door neighbor, which is crazy. Awesome. But yeah, so my upright chops are okay, but then I hear him play. I'm like, oh god.
Man, yeah, I played upright in college, and that was 20 some years ago. So it's like, if people say, do you play upright? I'm like, well, I don't even own an upright anymore. I've actually been feeling a call to get back to it. And, it's kind of daunting because I know how challenging that instrument is. I'm not foolish enough to think, oh yeah, I'm going to get an upright and just start gigging. But, speaking of like the calling and saying I played a lot of country music and bluegrass music when I was like becoming a working musician, that stuff's like in my DNA. I still love it. And in the last couple of years, I've been like, man, I want to play more of that. And there's actually I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. There's like some really talented singer-songwriter, Americana, bluegrass. It's like a really good community of players and people writing that music. And I won in. And they're a bit like Puritan about the music, So and I kind of joke. I'm like, okay, what jerk came in with like a 6-string active electric bass and slapped all over one of your bluegrass gigs, and then they were just like, no more electric bass.
Right.
And I've sometimes some of them are a little more open, and I play, and it goes really well. And then I'm trying to like network with these people, and so
and they're like, it's got to be upright.
But yeah,
it's like upright or nothing.
Yeah, I messaged one guy, so it was a gig with an artist, but long story short, she had lost her voice, and so we were kind of winging it. And the fiddle player's like just calling fiddle tunes. I have no clue what they are. And he's like, I'll set it up and you'll hear it. And it's a lot of like 8-bar phrase, like 1 to a 5 chord. It was
okay.
Talk about ear training. It's like I'm hearing a pass or two of a melody, and then you're jumping in. And
right.
I said to him afterwards, I said, man, that was so much fun. Like, I'd love to do more of this. And he said, yeah, do you play upright? And I was like,
damn it.
No. And he's like, oh. It kind of felt like, well, call me when you get an upright, kid. It was like one of those.
Right.
So it's something I've been, I think about a lot. And it's just, I don't know. Anything I would say would be an excuse. It's like, if I want to do it, I got to get a Shen or a relatively affordable upright and just hit the shit. So when I asked you, like, what do you want to improve upon? For me, it's like my pick playing, plectrum playing. And
right.
Maybe getting into the upright and singing more.
There you go. Yeah, playing with a pick is awesome. It's funny when I see there's like some of these internet things like pick versus fingers, and like pick is meh. It's like, man, they're both great. Like why do we have to fight about this? It's like just do both.
It's the pick,
but it's hard.
Incredible.
Pick is tricky if you didn't grow up playing with a pick, which I did not. I had to learn that later. Yeah. It's tricky. It's hard getting which way you want to start the thing with an upstroke or a downstroke, and you get stuck between the strings, and it's tricky, but it's great. I mean, to me, like distorted bass just doesn't sound right with fingers. It's got to be a pick for me. Just something about the tone. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got the rock side of it, and then you have the like Joe Osborne, Carol Kay side, or any old country records where it's sort of like a tic-tac sound. Totally,
yeah.
So that's a sound that I want. I don't quite have yet, or I have it for like a minute, and then my arm just goes,
oh man,
tensing up. So, John, man, I could talk to you all day. I think. I'm going to try and wrap this up. I just want to thank you for being here. This has been...
My pleasure. It's super fun.
Been such a treat to have you as the first guest, and to hear your thoughts on all this stuff has been... I don't have the words other than to just say thank you, man. I'm a
You're
fan.
Welcome.
I appreciate your time and your insight, and I know other people will as well. So thank you for doing this.
My pleasure.
Wow. That was fantastic. John, thank you. What an incredibly kind and humble person. It's so inspiring. I'm just grateful. I can't believe I get to talk to that guy. John, he's the man, clearly. I had a blast doing that. I hope you guys had a blast listening and checking it out. And there's going to be more of these, so stay tuned. What do people on YouTube say? Like and subscribe, share, whatever. Send that button interview to your bandmates and your friends. There are so many gems, things that John drops in there. Whether you're a brand new beginner to music or you're a seasoned veteran, a lot of insight that John shared. So I'm so thankful, Mr. Button. Thank you for your time. Thank you all of you for listening, and I'll see you next time. All right, ciao.